Hi, this is Wade Nelson of HardcoreOutdoor.com. I want to talk to you today about something I call active ventilation. And I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but it is raining cats and dogs here in Arizona right now. We've got a really good winter storm rolling through central Arizona. Tonight here in Scottsdale it'll be about 20 degrees. Up in Payson it'll be 7 degrees. And Flagstaff is going to get about 14 inches of snow tonight, and it'll be right at 0. So, you know, for the rest of the country, that's probably not a big deal, but for us, that's pretty good. And I always take these opportunities to test as much gear as possible. So while you guys are sleeping tonight, I'm going to be out testing gear as much as I can. While the getting's good, I guess. Let me give you a real quick idea as to what I'm wearing that I chose to use for this particular video. I've got an Arcteryx Theta AR jacket, which in my personal opinion is probably the best protective outer shell garment on the market. There's literally only one little thing that I would change to that jacket, and that's basically add a double front zipper. That's it. Okay. If I'm sitting down or riding something, or just to aid in my active ventilation techniques, the opportunity or the ability to open up from the bottom of the main zipper is a real plus. But other than that, this jacket is damn near perfect. It uses a waterproof, breathable laminate called Gore-Tex, made by W.L. Gore. Very similar to Event, which is made by General Electric. And by the way, I use the term waterproof, breathable advisedly. I understand that that's not technically correct. Inanimate objects can't breathe. I know that. But that's the term that's been hung on these particular kinds of products, so that's what we're going to stay with. The correct term is waterproof, vapor permeable. Okay? Because that's what they're supposed to do. Your body heat is supposed to push water vapor from the outside, from the inside of the garment to the outside, where it can be evaporated off. Okay? Now, I'm not going to get into the discussion as to rather Gore-Tex or Event work, because frankly, I'm a believer. I've been using Gore-Tex since 1976. I've still got Gore-Tex jackets that are that old that still work. So you're going to have a hard time convincing me that it doesn't work. As long as you've got a good DWR or durable water-resistant coating on the outside that'll beat up the water like a wax job on your car, and as long as the waterproof, breathable laminate on the inside of the jacket is not damaged, they work, period. Okay? So we're not going to fight that battle here. The other thing that I'm wearing today is I've got an REI MTS polypropylene mid-weight zip T-neck base layer on. That's real important for what I do. I've been using them for a long time. They work really well, and I use them specifically because of the zip T-neck feature. It allows me to breathe better. It allows that perspiration to get air to it and to evaporate easier, and the zip T-necks are just the best way to go in my opinion. Okay? I've also got a set of Tad Gear hard shell trousers on. These are also a waterproof, breathable laminate trouser. They're absolutely fantastic pants. They have a great side cargo pocket on the side of each leg. They've got belt loops that I can use my Yates uniform Rappel belt with, and these are just fantastic pants. From a shell gear standpoint, this setup is about as good as it gets. Okay, I'm also wearing a set of Under Armour boxer briefs, a set of Bridgedale Summit socks, and Danner Santiam boots. So I'm going in a little detail as to telling you what I'm wearing, because I want you to understand exactly how this whole process works. Okay, the first thing that we're trying to do when we're out moving and grooving in bad weather out there is that we want to have as little insulation on underneath the shell gear as possible. We want to be just on the verge of being cold if we were sitting still for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay? We don't want any extra interior body heat because that's going to cause perspiration. And again, we're trying to stay dry and warm. So we cut out all the insulation that we possibly can, keep that in the pack for when we stop later and cool down. Okay? So again, I'm just wearing base layers and my protective shell layer. The insulation stuff is still in my pack. Okay? So like I said, tonight I started about 7:30. I did a 7-mile loop up in the McDowells tonight. It's blowing hard, it's raining steady, cats and dogs, and so I get myself all suited up. Okay, the Arcteryx jacket has got a great hood. It's got side elastic cords around the face opening, plus it's got an adjustment back here. And so what I'll do is I'll zip this up to about the top if I can handle it. If the wind's driving right in my face, I'll go ahead and zip it all the way to the top, and I've still got a nice little opening here for the air to move in and out, okay? I've got my pit zips open just a little bit here, okay? But what's really critical here is that my hands are up inside of the sleeves. And by the way, Dale Stewart at the Arizona Hiking Shack taught me this a long time ago. This is how the jacket is supposed to fit, okay? It's baggy enough so that I've got room for good insulation. I'm not going to compress it or push all that dead air space out of it when I get it in. And the sleeves are all long enough so that my hands are up in there when I want them to be. Okay? And I do this for a specific reason. As I'm walking, okay, I'm creating a natural bellows action that's drawing air in and moving it up through and out the bottom of the jacket. And so what that's doing is, what perspiration I am generating from the inside of the shell is being affected by that moving air and hopefully evaporated off, okay? And what's left over is water vapor that my body heat should be pushing out from the inside of the protective shell to the outside via the waterproof, breathable laminate. So technically, that's how it works. Okay? Now it looks a little funny, okay, because my hands are up inside my sleeves, but this is the way it works. Okay? So I've got air coming up from underneath. I've got air being sucked up and pushed out of my sleeves, and air being drawn in and pushed out of the top of the collar here. Okay? If this jacket were any smaller on me or fit me tighter, I wouldn't be able to move this air, and I wouldn't be able to be out and about in bad weather and control the moisture generation inside of my shell. And that's really the big deal. Now here's the other key. As I'm out there, I've got to be very careful that I'm not pushing too hard. I'm not exceeding the limits of this system's ability to move or remove perspiration or the moisture inside this shell. So I've got to control my physical exertion. I've got to control how hard I'm pushing, how hard I'm moving, how fast I'm moving. If that means that it takes me a lot longer to get to where I'm going, so be it. I'm going to be drier and warmer when I get there. Okay? There's just always trade-offs, and the bottom line is you can't be out there humping hard and pushing and going as fast as you possibly can and not expect to produce more perspiration than the system can handle. Okay? So again, the keys are the materials of this system, the construction and the features of these garments, the base layer that I'm using, and minimal insulation. And then I use these active ventilation techniques to try and keep that perspiration to a minimum and evaporate it out. When I get to where I'm going, I'll try and strip down if I can get a little cover and make sure that I dry off as much as possible. Or I may just have to stay like this for a little bit and let my body heat dry my base layer and the inside of my shell as much as possible. Maybe I end up getting just a little bit cold, but the bottom line is I want to be as dry as possible so I can be as warm as possible. That's when I break out the insulation, put it on underneath my protective shell layer, and then I'm warmer. Okay? So now I'm insulated also. I'm keeping that precious body heat inside and keeping my core warm. But again, we got to be dry, then warm. Okay? So this is how we do it. Got to have the right materials, got to have the right base layers, minimal insulation. We got to use active ventilation techniques, and that's how it works. Okay? If you'd like more information on these kinds of techniques or other great gear, go to www.hardcoreoutdoor.com. Thanks.